We've had a lot of letters from people saying how much more they'd like to know about television. So today we decided that we'd take you behind the scenes of the studios here at the BBC Television Centre. We're not in our usual studio today. We've been given a very much bigger studio because of the Cub Scouts. In fact, we are in the biggest studio at the BBC Television Centre. It's Studio 1. And it is absolutely enormous. In fact, I feel really very small when I'm standing here in the middle of it. But I'm not alone, of course, because besides John and Peter and myself, there are an awful lot of people working on Blue Peter. If you add them all up, if you add up the cameramen, the technicians, the engineers, the props men, the scene men, the makeup girls, and the floor manager, you'd probably find that there were about 50 people helping to get Blue Peter on the air. Well, the measurements of Studio 1 sound really rather like something out of the Guinness Book of Records. The area of the studio floor is 10,800 square feet. 2 of the walls are 108 feet wide, and the other 2 are 100 feet wide. And if you want to get scenery into the studio, as you very often do when you put on a play, there are the most enormous pair of doors. They're 18 feet wide, high, and 14 feet wide. And they're absolutely huge, as you can see. You could get a double-decker bus through them quite easily. In fact, once, Eric Sykes had 3 double-decker buses right on this very spot.
Well, once the scenery is here in the studio, it's then slung up to the roof on wires, and these wires are attached to electric motors called hoists, and during a television show, this means that the scenery can be dropped quickly onto the studio floor, and when it's not needed, it can be taken back up again. And all it takes is Tony to press a button on his panel, and down she comes. The electric motors can be varied in speed. At the moment, it's set on a slow speed. You can see the scenery coming down slowly. It won't bang on the bottom of the studio floor and make a noise. And in fact, there are 168 of these scenery hoists dotted all over the studio roof. And also up there are the lights. There are 240 electric lighting hoists, and these will take up to 500 lamps. But the lamps aren't controlled down here on the floor. They're controlled upstairs, up there in a control room where Peter is at the moment, just behind that glass panel.
This is the lighting control room, and from here Bernard Fox, who's the lighting supervisor, can control all the lights in the studio. Now over here there are a bank of faders, and each one of these is connected to a separate lamp in the studio. By moving this up and down, the lamp can be faded up and down. Now, if Bernard wants to fade all the lights on the background of the Blue Peter set, then all he has to do is to press this button here, because this control panel here acts like a kind of computer. It can remember the settings of a lot of lights. So to make the lights fade down, he presses this like so, and away go the lights. And to bring them back again, he presses the button again, like so, and up they all come again. And Bernard can keep a check on what's happening in the studio by turning round and looking out through this big window. Now, this control room also is used for checking the quality of the pictures that you see at home. Here they have to ensure that you're seeing the very best quality picture. And by moving this knob here, Tony can make this picture of me grow either darker or lighter. Can you make it go darker for us, Tony? You see, down it goes, and you can see that this is because the light has been restricted entering the camera. And now if you could bring it up to normal again. Fine, that's splendid. And there's one of these controls for each of the cameras in the studio.
Well, down here in the studio, in Studio 1, you can have 6 cameras. And you have cameras like this that move around on a pedestal, like camera 2 here, that are moved around by a cameraman. And this is a pretty skilled job, because you've not only got to move your camera around and get it into the right position, but you've also got to get a good picture at the same time. And then again, you get another sort of camera, which is on a crane like this.
Well, this is one of the largest BBC crane cameras that we have. It's called a transatlantic crane, and for short it's called Big Bill. And this fantastic piece of equipment here can go to a tremendous height. It can go all the way up to 20 feet high. So if we can go up, fellas, please. And here we go. And you notice at the back of the crane there are 2 men who've got to hang on to make it go right up, and we're quite high. In fact, we're level with the lights and are above a few of them, so if we can come down. You'll also notice that I'm wearing a crash hat. You have to do this just in case your head comes in contact with the lights and you get a bit lightheaded. And also, I'm in a harness here. I've got a harness, I'm fastened to the seat, so if the inevitable happens, I can't fall out, I mean. Well, if we go up again, you can see what sort of a picture we get as we rise. There's Val way down there in the studio. Wait, we're going higher and higher. What's it like down there, Val, all right? Well, the pictures from all the cameras on the studio floor appear on small television screens called monitors in the production control room. There it is. It's next door to the lighting gallery, and Peter's walked through and can tell you more about it.
This row of screens along the bottom here carry the pictures from each of the individual cameras down in the studio. There's one for each camera. And above that, there's another row of screens, and this center one here shows the picture that is actually being transmitted, the picture that you can see at home. Now, because there are so many different pictures all being shown at the same time, somebody has to choose which pictures you're going to see and when to change the picture that's on this screen for another one. The person who does that is the studio director, John, and he sits here, and he is able to talk to his crew, the cameraman on the floor, through this microphone here, and they hear him through their headphones. Now, next to John is the vision mixer, Penny. In front of her, there are a row of buttons. By pressing these buttons, she can change the picture on the transmission screen. You can see they're all numbered, and there is one number for each camera. And if you look at the bottom bank of screens, you can see that on camera 4 there is a picture of Val. So if I want to get that picture of Val in your homes, I press the button marked number 4 and you get camera 4's picture on your own screen. And above the lights there are these levers. These levers are called faders, and by moving them like this, I can merge one picture with another. And this is what it looks like on your screen. One picture merged into another. In the next control room to this one, which is through the glass here, the sound mixer, Chick, is sitting in front of another bank of faders, but these faders don't control the picture. They control all the sound coming up from the studio floor.
Cut 3, cue Val.
And the sound is picked up by one of the microphone booms here. And this can follow myself, Peter or John, anywhere about the studio as we move around and talk to you. And as you don't normally see this in your picture, it's slightly above our heads, it's very important that we keep our voices up so that you can, in fact, hear us. Now, so that we know that we're on the air, that means that you're actually seeing a picture of us on your television screens in your home, we have a floor manager, John, and John gives us a wave of his arm like this, which means to start and to stop. And he gets all his instructions through the headphones that he's wearing from the studio direction. The signal that he's giving us at the moment means that we're coming to the end of our 25 minutes. It's time for us to wrap up the programme. Hope very much that you've enjoyed your tour round Studio 1. Goodbye.
4.
Bye-bye.
5. Superimpose. Cut.